Hello everyone, welcome back to this session. I hope you had a good weekend when you could practice. So continuing with what we were doing last week with regards to the Infosys pattern for verbal ability. So I'm going to continue. But before I switch to Infosys, there is a couple of very important information which I want to share with you. Capgemini, the dates have been announced. 9th, 10th and 11th is the date. Now before I talk about which place they are coming and what exactly is the location and the name of the college, I want to refresh your memory as far as Capgemini is concerned. We have already finished the entire portion of Capgemini as far as the entire written assessment is concerned, as well as the second stage of selection, which is interview, where I have extensively covered body language, personal round of interview, the frequently asked questions, spoke about your dress code, spoke about your attire, spoke about your gestures, and a lot of other things which is related to interviews. I spoke about the pattern in which they usually ask question and what is an appropriate way to answer these. So that's covered, but I wanted to refresh what Capgemini pattern will be all about. So Capgemini will have two areas where they're going to ask questions. The first one is the written test. You have aptitude, where you will have 32 questions that needs to be answered in 50 minutes. 32 questions in 50 minutes, 50. Followed by essay writing, where you need to write an essay minimum 300 words in 30 minutes. Now aptitude will come from two distinct areas, which is quantitative analysis, where you will have topics like profit and loss ratios, linear equations, time and distance, time and work, permutations, combinations and probability. And you will also have logical reasoning, data interpretation, data sufficiency, syllogism, non-verbal reasoning, coding and decoding, blood relations, flowchart and number series. So 16 questions from logical reasoning and 16 questions from quantitative analysis. That makes it 32 questions that needs to be answered in 50 minutes. Once this 50-minute time is up, the window will open for essay writing. You need to ensure your punctuation is right. For example, the space after full stop and comma, the usage of apostrophes, usage of commas and full stops, capitalization, first letter of a word after full stop as noun or first person I, structure, introduction, content and conclusion should be in different paragraphs. Any mistake that you do in terms of punctuation or capitalization, you will lose points. Please ensure you do not make mistakes, and if you write below 300 words, you will get disqualified. Granular aspects of essay writing. I have spoken about this before. I'm emphasizing on it again. Time limit and utilization. The total time allocated is 30 minutes, so we need to write your essay in 30 minutes. It's a good way to distribute your preparation and writing time appropriately so that you have ample time to think, write and also check. So I'm suggesting 3 minutes for reading the topic, 5 minutes for making notes in a sheet of paper like bullet points, 20 minutes to write the entire essay and 2 minutes to review and correct errors. Use the last 2 minutes. Check your entire essay. If you have mistakes, quickly correct them. The minimum word count should be 300. Even if you write the essay with 299 words, you will get disqualified. Essay writing written below 300 words will be disqualified, like I just said. Punctuation, so please ensure you use correct punctuation. Use space after the comma and full stop, not before but after. Use appropriate apostrophes. Punctuation errors would lead to reduction in overall score. Capitalization. Please ensure you use the appropriate capitalization. The first letter of a word after full stop should be capital. Any noun should start with a capital letter if it's a proper noun. Proper noun means the name of a city. Alright. Any noun should start with a capital letter if it's a proper noun. First person, that is I, should be mentioned in capital letter. Any keyword should start with a capital letter, and capitalization errors would lead to reduction in overall score. It's quite possible you wrote an essay more than 300 words, but you made so many mistakes in capitalization, punctuation and spelling, you lost all the points, obviously you get disqualified. Structure, write the first paragraph as introduction, write the second paragraph as main content and the third one as a conclusion. Structure inconsistency may lead to reduction in overall score. Grammar and spelling, grammatically consistent sentence is required. Maintain proper tense, verb, singular and plural forms. Do not make spelling mistakes. Beware of confusing words like lose, there, advise, confirm, effect. Grammar and spelling errors would lead to deduction in overall score. Now this is the mock assessment link where the essay and the aptitude test is active. Some of you have called and said you are not able to log in. That is because you did not register on time, and it's because the college did not send us the data. So there was a cutoff date within which you were supposed to get registered. The registration did not happen. We did not get the data. The college did not send us the data. For example, National Degree College in Nandyal, a person by name Rafi called. I checked the list. His name was not available. They have apparently 120 to 150 students, but there are only 5 names in the list that I got, which means either you did not give your information to the college placement cell or they did not forward it on time. Either could be possible, because whatever names we got, close to 3,566, we have registered them all. Alright, so please ensure you are registered and your data is sent to APSSDC soon as possible, so that the credentials can be created on this tool and you can start taking the test. Now coming to the important announcement in terms of Capgemini Drive. The date is 9th, 10th and 11th November. Please make a note, 9th, 10th and 11th November. The venue is Annamacharya Engineering College, which is located in Tirupati. Annamacharya Engineering College located in Tirupati. This is the Campus Gemini Drive venue and it's happening on 9th, 10th and 11th. I will pause here for 2-3 seconds so that you can take down this information. So it's 9th, 10th and 11th, Annamacharya Engineering College, Tirupati. Alright. Now as far as Infosys is concerned, we do not have the dates for Infosys as yet. As and when we get the information from for Infosys, we will convey that information to you obviously. We have already started preparing on Infosys. Just a moment, I'll quickly show you the information on Infosys pattern as well. So as far as Infosys Drive is concerned, we do not have the date, but they are also coming very soon. The moment I get to know from APSSDC, obviously I'll announce this to you. So Capgemini, you know the pattern, now you know the dates as well, 9th, 10th and 11th, you know the venue, Annamacharya Engineering College in Tirupati. So please be there. If required, register. Please contact your placement officers for more details so that they can get you more information. Whatever information I have given it to you. So now that we're talking about Infosys since last 1 week, the Infosys pattern, before I take you through the Infosys pattern, here is a picture of the Hyderabad campus office. This is something which I had been showing to you on daily basis. This is the Learning and Development Center, the Corporate Learning Development Center, which is located in Mysore. Every employee who joins Infosys needs to be here for the training. Once the training is over, then they deploy the employees to different locations. So as far as the test is concerned, you have analytical and verbal ability in written test. You will have 30 questions that needs to be answered in 40 minutes. And these questions will be from quantitative aptitude and reasoning. Verbal ability, I'll tell you what the areas that will cover. Interview, you will have a technical round and HR round. You need to clear all of them in order to get the call letter. Now, as far as Infosys is concerned, the emphasis is more on personality. You got to ensure you dress well, your attire is good. You need to ensure your conduct is very professional, your body language is very appropriate and very formal. And please do practice a lot and focus on your communication. I have finished the training on communication as well as interview. When you guys are doing self introduction, you are very fluent because you are mugging up the answer, you are by-hearting the answer. That is not the way. The moment you speak in front of an interviewer where you have mugged up an answer 10 times, 20 times, there is a difference between practice and mugging it up. So when you are mugging it up, you are going in one particular flow. If the flow is broken, you will not know what to say. They are gauging your communication skills. Infosys is gauging your personality, your confidence level and your attitude. So please don't falter, be natural. I always been saying interview means interaction, so you need to interact with them. Alright. So as far as the pattern for the areas of topic for the pattern for Infosys is concerned, you will have your aptitude test coming from data interpretation, syllogism, data sufficiency, problems on trains, time and work, permutations and combinations, number series, coding and decoding and puzzles. For verbal ability, you will have critical reasoning, which is theme detection. I have finished some 20 examples on theme detection. Fill in the blanks was done in the past, we'll do that again. Sentence correction again, I'll do that tomorrow. Today we'll focus on reading comprehension because it's little complex. So you will have 2 paragraphs on reading comprehension with 5 questions each. You need to answer each one of them. There are a couple of apps you can download from Google Play Store, Pocket Verbal Ability and Pocket Aptitude. These are the screens so that you know that you are picking the right app. Alright. Now theme detection is pretty much covered. We do not have, in case if you want a refresher on theme detection, you can obviously ask for it. But remaining areas that you need to know if you want to practice, once I open up the line after the 4 o'clock short break, please call and ask questions. I'm very sad to see that most of you have chosen not to call. The number of calls have come down drastically. We used to get like 10 to 15 calls. Now we get only 1 or 2 calls. So I don't know what seems to be wrong. You are not able to follow or you are not interested in Infosys. I have no idea. So please call and ask whatever questions you have. We will continue with passage comprehension today. Alright. So here we go. We finished 6 different examples of passage comprehension and today we are looking at the next one. Here is the passage on your screen. I am going to read this out slow so that you can understand. He saw nothing. He had no knife or sharp instrument. The grating of window was of iron and he had too often assured himself of its solidity. His furniture consisted of a bed, a chair, a table, a pail and a jug. The bed had iron clamps, but they were screwed to the wall and it would have required a screwdriver to take them off. David had but one resource, which was to break the jug with one of the sharp fragments attached the wall. He left the jug fall on the floor and it broke into pieces. He concealed 2 or 3 of the sharpest fragments in his bed, leaving the rest of the floor. The breaking of the jug was too natural an accident to excite suspicion, and next morning Gola went grumblingly to fetch another without giving himself the trouble to remove the fragments. David heard joyfully the key grate in the lock as guard departed. It's a scene or it's a narration from what happened in a jail cell. I'm going to repeat this again. Please understand, I'm not going to explain because last time I explain each and every comprehension passage. Today I am not going to explain, we need to understand ourselves. He saw nothing, he had no knife or sharp instrument, the grating of the window was of iron, and he had too often assured himself of its solidity. His furniture consisted of a bed, a chair, a table, a pail and a jug. The bed had iron clamps, but they were screwed to the wall, and it would have required a screwdriver to take them off. David had but one resource, which was to break the jug with one of the sharp fragments attacked the wall. He left the jug fall on the floor and broke in pieces. He concealed 2 or 3 of the sharpest fragments in his bed, leaving the rest of the floor. The breaking of the jug was too natural an accident to excite suspicion, and next morning Gola went grumblingly to fetch another, without giving himself the trouble to remove the fragments. David heard joyfully the key grate in the lock as guard departed. Now here comes question number 1. David was in a hostel, David was in a dining room, David was in an army barrack, David was in a prison. Since I already narrated the story properly, so the answer is a prison. It's talking about a prison, how he used the jug to break the lock or attack the wall. Next question. David heard the key grate in the lock when the cell door was shut, when the cell door was opened, when the storeroom was opened, when the storeroom was shut. I am reading it again. David heard the key grate in the lock when the cell door was shut, when the cell door was opened, storeroom was opened, storeroom was shut. I am taking you back to the passage. Please read the last paragraph. All right. I am keeping it here 3-4 seconds. Please read and then think and answer. All right, here is the question again. David heard the grate in the lock when the cell door was shut, when the cell door was opened, storeroom was opened, storeroom was shut. And the correct answer is D, storeroom was shut. Next, the guard left the fragments because he didn't notice them, because he wished to punish David, because he was too lazy to bother, because he wanted David to clear up. The guard left the fragments because he didn't notice them, because he wished to punish David, because he was too lazy to bother, because he wanted David to clear up. I am going back to the passage so that you can read and you can understand what it means. He concealed 2 or 3 sharpest fragments in his bed, leaving the rest of the floor. The breaking of the jug was too natural an accident to excite suspicion, and next morning Gola went grumblingly to fetch another, without giving himself the trouble to remove the fragments. He didn't want to take the trouble. So the correct answer is C. He was too lazy to bother. All right. Question number 4. David probably broke the jug in the morning, during the night, after breakfast, at exactly 3 p.m. David probably broke the jug in the morning or during the night or after breakfast or exactly 3 p.m. The correct answer is after breakfast. All right. Number 5. David was planning to carve his name, make his escape, tease the guard, call for breakfast. Why did he break the jug? That is the question. To carve his name, make his escape, tease the guard, call for breakfast. The answer is obvious, to make his escape. All right. So we looked at another passage where you will have questions, but these questions will not be very clear or on your face. You need to identify, you need to analyze what the question is and then answer. Before I take you to the next passage for practice, I'm refreshing, I'm doing a recap on comprehension tips, how to be perfect with reading comprehension. So here it is on your screen. First and foremost, read the passage and read it carefully. Do not leave any vital information. So first, read the passage. It says underline key information. Since it's going to be a test on the screen, obviously you cannot underline. So carry a pen and paper so that you can make a note of information. Dates, years, numbers, persons, incidents or events. Then it says make notes. Try to figure the subject of the passage, what is the precise thing the author is talking about. What is the main idea of the passage? What the author is saying about the subject? What is the tone of the author of the passage? Which manner the author has adopted the passage? Is he supporting it? Is he agreeing with it? Is he disagreeing, or he's just narrating? After narration, what is he trying to convey? That is the question. All right. Now understand the structure. The gist of a passage equals general idea plus structure plus tone. The general idea is one particular idea, but the structure could vary, the tone could change. This will also help to build a thematic composition, logical sequence of the passage, where you understand what the theme is and what exactly the sequence of events on the passage is. Now, what are the approaches of comprehension? Approach number one, instead of reading the entire passage, read critically the first and the last paragraphs. Generally, what the author is saying can be identified in the first few lines of the passage. For the rest, examine quickly what the author has said about the subject. For longer passages, try to put down 10 to 15 words for each paragraph, what you feel the central point of the passage is. For Infosys exam, you will have just one passage which will probably have 8 to 10 lines. So what you need to do is, you need to read the first few lines and the bottom few lines so that you get the fair idea what the author is trying to say. So approach number one says read the paragraph and then the questions. How should you deal with the questions? Let me show you. So instead of reading the entire paragraph, you read critically the first and the last paragraph. Approach number two, identify the structural words that tell you the important ideas or transitions of a passage, where you are picking key words. For example, the continuity words, contrast words and conclusion words. I have given some examples. Continuity words, for example, similarly, moreover, additionally, in the same way, likewise. Contrast means the other way, opposite. Contrast words, nonetheless, however, but, although, despite. Conclusion words, thus, therefore, hence, in summary, in conclusion. Continuity words, the author would support his point of view further. Contrast words, the author would introduce a contrarian point of view or opposite view. Conclusion words, the author would sum up his argument so far. So when we look at these words, the presence of these words means this is the direction the author is taking in that passage. All right, let's move on. Approach number 3. Try to recognize the words that represent positive and negative role in the passage. These words will let you decide whether the author is for or against the subject. A few examples such as positive words efficient, enthusiastic, bright, fortunate, passionate. Negative words, for example, foul, alarming, detrimental, pessimistic, stressful. Approach number 4, PQ, means passage first, then the questions. The steps are: read the entire passage thoroughly first and then read the questions. Scan through the passage and keep going back and forth with questions and passage. Read the first 2 paragraphs, scan all the questions and see what you can answer. Then read para 3 and 4, scan the questions and see what you can answer. And then keep going on like that. But in case of Infosys, you will have just one small paragraph. So you can read the entire paragraph and then go through the questions. Or you can do the QP approach, which is questions first, passage later. Read all the questions with their answer options first and then the passage. Read question number 1 with all the options, then go through the entire passage to answer it. Then read question 2, go through the entire passage, then question 3. Just read all the question stems without reading the answer options, then read the passage and try answering the question by reading them with the options. So that is the best way of answering or attempting passage comprehension. So what exactly you do is, you read the questions. Every question will have 4 options to choose from. We will adapt that particular approach right now. So what we'll do is, we'll read a passage, then we are reading the questions, but this time we will read the question first, then read the passage. That way what will happen is, you know what the questions are there. Then when you read the passage, it will give you a clear idea where to find the answer. Alright, so let's begin. Here we go. This is the entire passage, 1 paragraph. Here is question number 1. Modern medicines is primarily concerned with a promotion of good health, people suffering from imaginary illness, people suffering from real illness, increased efficiency in work. I repeat the question. Modern medicines is primarily concerned with promotion of good health, people suffering from imaginary illness, people suffering from real illness, increased efficiency in work. Now let's read the paragraph. In the world today, we make health an end in itself. We have forgotten the health is really means to enable a person to do his work and do it well. A lot of modern medicine, this includes many patients as well as many physicians, pays very little attention to health, but very much attention to those who imagine that they are ill. Our great concern with health is shown by the medical columns in newspaper, the health articles in popular magazines, and the popularity of television program and all those books and medicines. We talk about health all the time, yet for the most part only result is more people with imaginary illness. The healthy man should not be wasting time talking about health. He should be using health for work. The work does the work that good health possible. Alright, I'll read it again so that you remember what I'm talking about. In the world today, we make health an end in itself. We have forgotten that health is really means to enable a person to do his work and do it well. A lot of modern medicine, and this includes many patients as well as many physicians, pays very little attention to health but very much attention to those who imagine that they are ill. Our great concern with health is shown by the medical columns in newspapers. The health article is in popular magazines and the popularity of television programs and all those books on medicines. We talk about health all the time, yet for the most part the only result is more people with imaginary illness. The healthy man should not be wasting time talking about health. He should be using health for work. The work does the work that good health possible. Alright, now read the question again. Modern medicine is primarily concerned with promotion of good health, people suffering from imaginary illness, people suffering with or suffering from real illness, or increased efficiency in work. Think and tell me what is the correct answer. The correct answer is B, because it keeps talking about people imagining that they have some health issue but actually they do not. Question number 2. The passage suggests that health is an end in itself, health is blessing, health is only means to an end, we should not talk about health. I am reading it again, please think and answer. The passage suggests that health is an end in itself, health is blessing, health is only means to an end, we should not talk about health. And the correct answer is health is only means to an end. Alright, next. Talking about the health all the time makes people always suffer from imaginary illness, sometimes suffer from imaginary illness, rarely suffer from imaginary illness, often suffer from imaginary illness. Is it always, sometimes, rarely or often? Always, sometimes, rarely or often suffer from imaginary illness. What is this passage talking about? It says talking about the health all the time makes people often suffer from imaginary illness. They frequently, often means frequently, they often suffer from imaginary illness. Next, the passage tells us how medicine should be manufactured, what healthy man should or should not do, what television programs should be about, how best to imagine illness. Think and understand and then answer. The passage tells us how medicine should be manufactured, what health man should or should not, what healthy man should or should not do, what television program should be about, how best to imagine illness. And the correct answer is what a healthy person should or should not do. He should not keep worrying about his health or should not keep talking about his illness. A healthy man should be concerned with his work which good health makes possible, looking after his health which makes work possible, talking about health. What should a healthy man be concerned with? A healthy man should be concerned with his work which good health makes possible. He should be concerned with looking after his health. He should be concerned with his health which makes work possible, or talking about health. And the correct answer is his work which good health makes possible. His work which good health makes possible. So when we are reading the question and then we read the paragraph, it really helps us because we know where the answer is. Alright. Here is the next passage. Again, it's a long passage Let's read the question first, then we'll go back and read the passage. A man of courage is cunning, intelligent, curious, careful. A man of courage is cunning, intelligent, curious, careful. Now let's read the paragraph. I will read slowly because the font size is lesser. I tried accommodating the entire passage in one screen to avoid confusion. I am going to read this slow, so please do understand. Courage is not only the basis of virtue, it is its expression. Faith, hope, charity and all the rest don't become virtues until it takes courage to exercise them. There are roughly two types of courage. The first, an emotional state which urges a man to risk injury or death, is physical courage. The second, more reasoning attitude which enables him to take coolly his career, happiness, his whole future or his judgment of what he thinks either right or worthwhile, is moral courage. I have known many men who had marked physical courage but lacked moral courage. Some of them were in high places, but they failed to be great in themselves because they lacked moral courage. On the other hand, I have seen men who undoubtedly possessed moral courage but were very cautious about taking physical risks. But I have never met a man with moral courage who couldn't, when it was necessary, face a situation boldly. I am going to read it again a little slower. Courage is not only the basis of virtue, it is its expression. Faith, hope, charity and all the rest don't become virtues until it takes courage to exercise them. There are roughly two types of courage. The first, an emotional state which urges a man to risk injury or death, is physical courage. The second, more reasoning attitude which enables him to take coolly his career, happiness, his whole future or his judgment of what he thinks either right or worthwhile, is moral courage. I have known many men who had marked physical courage but lacked moral courage. Some of them were in high places, but they failed to be great in themselves because they lacked moral courage. On the other hand, I have seen men who undoubtedly possessed moral courage but were very cautious about taking physical risks. But I have never met a man with moral courage who couldn't, when it was necessary, face a situation boldly. Basically, it means there are two kinds of courage a person has. One is physical and the second one is moral or mental strength or mental courage. The author has often seen people who are physically very strong are not mentally strong. People who are physically strong, they don't think about the risk that they are taking and it can jeopardize their life. It can put their life in danger because they are not thinking. On the other hand, people who use moral courage, thinking strength, they have the ability to face a situation, but person who is physically strong sometimes finds it difficult to face a tough situation. That is what it's all about. Now let's read the question. You should be able to answer. A man of courage is cunning, intelligent, curious, careful. And the correct answer is, he is careful. He knows when to take a risk, when not to take a risk. That is the mental strength or mental courage. Physical courage is an expression of emotions, deliberations, uncertainty, defiance. Defiance means being stubborn. I will definitely do it even if somebody stops. Physical courage is an expression of emotions, deliberations, uncertainty, defiance. And the correct answer is emotions, because people who are physically strong, they take emotional decision, they get angry very quick and they go and get into violent means very often, because just because they are physically strong, so they use the emotion more. A man with moral courage can defy his enemies, can overcome all difficulties, face a situation boldly, can be very pragmatic. I repeat, a man with moral courage can defy his enemies, overcome all difficulties, face a situation boldly, can be very pragmatic. And the correct answer is C. He can face any kind of situation. Next, people with physical courage often lack, I'm sorry, there is a spelling mistake here. Okay, just a moment. Let me get this straightened up. Just a moment. Okay, here we go. People with physical courage often lack mental balance, capacity for reasoning, emotional stability, the will to fight. People with physical courage often lack mental balance, capacity of reasoning, emotional stability, and the willingness to fight. And the correct answer is capacity for reasoning. They can't apply logic. They get angry and get into fights. They don't think what will happen later. But somebody with mental courage, they always think about the results, the consequences, the repercussions. But somebody with physical courage, they don't think about all that. All right. Next question. All virtues become meaningful because of faith, because of charity, because of courage, because of hope. All virtues become meaningful because of faith, charity, courage, hope. Please read the first line of the passage again. Courage is not only the basis of virtue, it is expression. Faith, hope, charity and all the rest don't become virtues until it takes courage to exercise them. Alright. So we just read something very important. All virtues become meaningful because of faith, charity, courage, hope. Obviously the correct answer is courage. Alright. We have another passage here. We'll quickly read the first question and then we'll go back to read the passage. The expression others equally effective deterrents mean. Others equally effective deterrents mean preventive weapons which have equal effect of others, mechanism which scares everyone equally well, preventive equipment which it is as effective as something that has been already mentioned in the passage, deterrents that are as powerful as those the caterpillars have. Now let's read the passage. Soft-bodied animals like caterpillars often fall a prey to voracious hunters like birds or reptiles. Despite having no means to actively defend themselves with weapons like claws or jaws, they have nevertheless evolved other equally effective deterrents. A particular species of the caterpillar lives in an altitude of 2,500 meters in the Himalayas. It uses prominent color to inform would-be predators of its edibility. In the event that an inexperienced or adventurous bird did eat the caterpillar, it would probably vomit it soon after and subsequently desist from attacking similar species in future. Though this would do the unfortunate victim no good, the species benefits. A rare example of the martyr among animals. I read it again. Soft-bodied animals like caterpillars often fall prey to voracious hunters like birds or reptiles. Despite having no means to actively defend themselves, with weapons like claws or jaws, they have nevertheless evolved other equally effective deterrents. A particular species of caterpillar lives at an altitude of 2,500 meters in the Himalayas. It uses prominent color to inform would-be predator of its edibility. In the event that an inexperienced or adventurous bird did eat the caterpillar, it would probably vomit it soon after and subsequently desist from attacking similar species in future. Though this would do the unfortunate victim no good, the species benefit. A rare example of the martyr among animals. Question 1. The expression others equally, it should be other equally, alright? Okay, alright. The expression other equally effective deterrents mean preventive weapons which have equal effect on others, mechanism which scares everyone equally well, preventive equipment which it is as effective as something that has been already mentioned in the passage, deterrents that are as powerful as those the caterpillars have. And the correct answer is B, mechanism which scares everyone equally well, means other equally effective, since they don't have jaws and claws, at least this particular phenomena will be effective. Next question. Experienced birds do not attack the Himalayan caterpillars because they are repulsive, they are very aggressive, they are inedible, they are diseased. Diseased means somebody who has a disease. Inedible means you cannot eat them. Repulsive means they get scared. Repulsive is the opposite of attraction or very aggressive. Obviously, the correct answer is C, they are inedible, you cannot eat them. The Himalayan caterpillar uses prominent colors to warn the predator, to attack the predator, to reveal itself, to defend itself. The Himalayan caterpillar uses prominent colors to warn the predator, attack the predator, reveal itself, or to defend itself. The correct answer is warn the predator, don't eat me. If you eat me, you will be in trouble. So it's a warning. Caterpillars cannot defend themselves because they are passive animals, they are lazy, they cannot acquire weapons, they have no claws and jaws. That's why they use colors. So obviously D is the correct answer for this particular question. Alright. And the last question for this particular passage. In the context of this passage, a martyr is one who dies without putting up resistance, without any gain to oneself, while defending one's homeland or to save others. Who is a martyr as per this particular passage? Without someone who dies without putting up resistance, who dies without any gain to oneself, who dies while defending one's homeland, or to save others? And the correct answer is to save others. Once the bird eats the caterpillar dies. But since it cannot eat it, it leaves a very bad taste, it vomits. Now the birds will know they cannot eat a similar caterpillar. Now this caterpillar has died, but it has died to save the entire species. Alright, that's what it means. We'll take a quick break now. We'll come back and we'll do one more passage. I will open up the lines after the break. I have a humble request, please call and ask questions. All these efforts for last 2 months we are doing it for you. All the studio technicians are working for you. People in APSSDC are working for you. So please make the best use, take the best benefit out of this program. Please call. The numbers will open up soon after the break. Please call and ask as many questions you want. If you want to interact, if you want to practice interviews, I'm fine with it. If you have questions on Capgemini, I'm still fine. But please do call and ask questions. We'll take a quick break and we come back soon. Welcome everyone. Welcome back. I'm opening up the lines now. You will see 3 numbers listed on the bottom of the screen. So please pick up your phone and call these numbers and ask your questions. The first number, landline 040, that's a code for Hyderabad, 2354-0726. Then we have 2354-0326. These are the 2 numbers. And there is a toll-free number for which you don't have to pay. The 1-800 number, the toll-free number 1-800-425-4039. So the first 2 numbers are landline numbers 040-2354-0726 and 2354-0326. And there is a 1-800 number which is 1-800-425-4039. Please pick up the phone, call and ask whatever question you have. I'm here to answer these questions, no matter which area the questions are from. It could be Capgemini, it could be Infosys, it could be any of the sections in the verbal ability or essay or interview, body language, anything it could be. So please call and ask your questions. If you do not call, I will not have much to say except just one paragraph, passage comprehension, which I'm going to talk about now. Here is the passage, the last one which we'll practice today, then we'll look at the questions. All right. So here's the passage, but let's look at the questions first. The industry needs a literate workforce because its expansion needs sound learning. It relies heavily on expertise. It promotes a competitive spirit. Its operations needs intricate technical knowledge. All right. The industry needs a literate workforce because its expansion needs sound learning. It relies heavily on expertise. It promotes a competitive spirit. Its operations need intricate technical knowledge. And let's read the paragraph now. Meanwhile, if you have questions, you can call. Many sociologists have argued that there is functional relationship between education and economic system. They point to the fact that mass formal education began in industrial society. They note that the expansion of the economies or industrial societies is accompanied by a corresponding expansion of their educational system. They explain this correspondence in terms of the needs for industry for skilled and trained manpower, needs which are met by the educational system. Thus, the provision of mass elementary education in Britain in 1870 can be seen as a response to the needs of industry for a literate and numerate workforce at a time when industrial processes were becoming more complex and demand for technical skills was steadily growing. I'm going to read this out again. Many sociologists have argued that there is functional relationship between education and economic system. They point to the fact that formal education began in industrial society. They note that the expansion of the economies of industrial societies is accompanied by a corresponding expansion of the educational system. They explain this correspondence in terms of needs of industry for skilled and trained manpower, needs which are met by educational system. Thus, the provision of mass elementary education in Britain in 1870 can be seen as a response to the needs of industry for a literate and numerate workforce at a time when industrial processes were becoming more complex and the demand for technical skills was steadily growing. We have a caller. Good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. What's your name?
Navdurga, sir.
Navdurga. Yes, ma'am. What's your question?
Sir, in resume, we have to mention declaration, not sir.
In resume?
We have to mention declaration, sir.
Declaration.
Yes, sir.
No, it's not necessary. If you do not, declaration basically means whatever you have mentioned above is true. If you do not mention, does it mean it's false?
No, sir.
All right. That's why it's not necessary. I don't know, somebody saw the declaration, everybody started using it. It's a redundancy. So it's not really needed.
Whether photo is mandatory, sir?
Photo is not mandatory, it's optional. If you want, you can add a picture, otherwise you can choose not to. It's not mandatory, but it's a good practice to add a picture.
Okay, sir.
Any
Sir,
other,
when we go to interview, which type of folder we have to carry with us, sir?
which type of
Folder.
folder?
Yes, sir.
You get a folder which has transparent sheets, which means if you flip the pages, the content of the folder will be visible from both the sides. So you should keep it in such a manner when they flip the pages, they can see the face of the document or the certificate. So put everything on the folder with all your certificates, mark sheets, if you have done some extracurricular activities, all that. But please do carry 3 to 4 copies of your resume, and please do not fold it or roll it.
Okay, sir.
All right?
Sir, in which order we have to mention our certificate, sir?
Reverse order, ma'am.
Okay.
Everything will be reverse order. You will not tell about when you did your 10th. First, you need to talk about what are you doing right now.
Okay, sir. Sir, difference between THGIR and THGRE, sir?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Difference between THGIR and THGRE.
T as in tango, THERE.
EIR.
THEIR and THERE.
Yes, sir.
THERE is a preposition, THEIR is a pronoun.
Okay.
It's a pronoun possession. THERE is a preposition. For example, I say, keep the bottle there. So that's THERE. There are 5 pens kept in the cupboard. So it's a preposition. But when I say there, THEIR, today it's their examination day. I basically mean the exams belongs to them. So that's a pronoun possession.
Hello, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
While keeping photo in resume, we should write the name on left side, sir.
I'm sorry, what?
When we keep a photo in resume, we can write the name on left side, sir.
Your name is there on the resume, right?
Yes, sir.
You are asking, should your name be there on the picture? Are you keeping the picture separately than the resume? It should be attached on the resume.
Okay, sir.
You cannot give a picture separately, right?
Sorry, sir.
Are you giving the picture separately and the resume separately?
No, sir.
You will attach it, right? You will pin it or paste it, right?
Yes, sir.
Then why do you want to write the name on the picture? Since your name is mentioned on the resume,
Yes, sir. Already mentioned, sir.
so obviously the picture is you.
Okay, sir.
Do you have any questions on Infosys pattern?
No, sir.
Are you following it?
Yes, sir.
Which area are you finding it difficult? Is it theme detection or passage comprehension?
In theme detection, sir.
What is the difficulty you are facing?
For understanding, I am feeling little bit difficult, sir.
Okay, yeah, your understanding will be a little bit of difficulty. Even I face that. That's why theme detection you need to practice more. So I'll do theme detection again.
Okay.
And any challenges you are facing as far as Capgemini is concerned?
Capgemini. No, sir. Capgemini,
Okay, you remember the date and the venue when the drive is happening for Capgemini?
Yes, sir. 9, 10, 11. In Tirupati, you said, sir.
Correct.
But we are in Vizag, sir. Can you announce the date, whether it will go on Vizag?
I have no idea. I need to find that out and let you know.
Okay, sir.
I will find out that information and I will let you know.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Right now, the information that I got from APSSDC is 9th, 10th, and 11th in the Annamacharya College in Tirupati. That is where Capgemini drive is happening.
Okay, sir. In Vizag, it will be held.
I do not have the information, ma'am, so I cannot comment on that. Once I get the information, I will communicate that to all of you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, any more questions you have?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Okay, do we have a caller? No. All right. So let's read this particular paragraph again. Many sociologists have argued that there is functional relationship between education and economic system. They point to the fact that mass formal education began in industrial society. They note that the expansion of economies of industrial societies is accompanied by a corresponding expansion of the educational systems. They explain this correspondence in terms of needs of industry for skilled and trained manpower, needs which are met by educational system. Thus, the provision of mass elementary education in Britain in 1870 can be seen as a response to the needs of industry for a literate and numerate workforce at a time when industrial processes were becoming more complex and the demand for technical skills was steadily growing. Question number 1. The industry needs a literate workforce because its expansion needs sound learning, it relies heavily on expertise, it promotes a competitive spirit, its operations needs intricate technical knowledge. And the correct answer is D. Its operations needs intricate technical knowledge. Intricate means complex or detailed. All right. Next, the author argues that formal education can be traced to industrial society. Industrial society is responsible for expansion of education at mass level. Industrial society gave rise to vocational education. Industrial society changed the pattern of education. The author argues the formal education can be traced to industrial society. Industrial society is responsible for expansion of education at mass level. Industrial society gave rise to vocational education. Industrial society changed the pattern of education. The correct answer is A. Formal education can be traced to industrial society. Wherever the industrial society grew, there was a formal education. Next. The observation of the sociologists are based on a study of the statistical data available in historical context, economic system of 19th century, the correlation between industry and education in a historical context, growth of industry in 19th century. The observation of the sociologists are based on a study of statistical data available in a historical context, economic system of the 19th century, the correlation between industry and education in a historical context, growth of industry in 19th century. And the correct answer is the growth of industry in 19th century. 1870 is 19th century. Sociologists referred to in the passage say that the relationship between industry and elementary education was one based on mutual need, based entirely on the need of the industry, based entirely on economic need, based on some inexplicable historical forces. The sociologists referred to in the passage say that the relationship between industry and elementary education was one based on mutual need, based entirely on the need of industry, based entirely on economic need, based on some inexplicable historical forces. And the correct answer is B, based entirely on the need of the industry. Next, by functional relationship is meant a short-term relationship, practical and utilitarian relationship, temporary arrangement, close and unbreakable relationship. The key word here is functional. It means a short-term, practical and utilitarian relationship, temporary arrangement, close and unbreakable relationship. And the correct answer obviously is practical and utilitarian relationship. So that's about the practice for passage comprehension. So we had quite a few practice sessions. I'm going back a little bit to theme detection now, since some of you asked for theme detection, but none of you are calling. I don't know how many people have tuned in today. So let me check with the back room. Sir, how many people have tuned in? What's the number it shows? Around 20? Okay, it's not much. So here are the numbers again for you. Bottom of the screen, you will see that listed: 040-2354-0726, 2354-0326, and a 1-800 number. Luckily, we have a caller. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Can you speak a little louder?
Good evening, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead. What's your question?
Sir, actually, in Capgemini underwriting, how can we know that we have completed 300 words? That is my question.
If I heard you right, you want to ask, how will you know you have written 300 words, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the main exam, on the tool, there will be a counter which will show how many words you have written so far. Okay. So it will keep getting updated as and when you keep typing the words. So there will be a word counter which will show you how many words you have typed already. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Can you speak a little louder, ma'am? I can barely hear you.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear my answer? Hello?
Which can be, uh,
Are you still there?
yes,
Do you have any more questions?
sir. Like if photo is specific, can we write details of my email on the last section?
Ma'am, I'm not able to hear you. Can you reduce your TV volume, please?
Yes, sir. One minute.
Can you speak a little louder?
Sir.
Got disconnected? Okay. Whenever any one of you are calling, please stay away from the computer or the TV, wherever you're calling from. Reduce the volume and please speak loud. I was barely able to hear the person. I could barely hear the first question. So the question was, how will we know how many words we have typed already? If we have reached 300 or not, there will be a word counter which will show you. But having said that, don't stop the essay just because you have finished 300 words. Keep writing, finish the essay. The idea is you should finish the essay and it should be minimum 300 words. Just because you are yet writing the second paragraph and you have reached 300 words doesn't mean you should stop. You should complete the essay. It should look like one complete essay structure. Clear? So the lines are open. Okay, we have a caller. Good evening.
Sir, I'm actually.
Can you speak a little louder, ma'am? I'm not able to hear you.
Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead. What is your question, ma'am? Please repeat the question. Got disconnected again. Okay. Any more callers we have? No callers. Okay. All right. So theme detection will be a little challenging as far as Infosys is concerned. You need to focus a lot on your vocabulary. You need to focus a lot on reading practice. You should read every day. Just because Capgemini Drive is happening, you can't pick a book and start reading. It should be a daily practice. Say for example, we talk about this particular paragraph here. The attainment of individual and organizational goal is mutually interdependent and linked by a common denominator, that is employee work motivation. Organizational members are motivated to satisfy their personal goals and they contribute their efforts to the attainment of organizational objectives as means of achieving these personal goals. The passage best supports the statement that motivation encourages an individual to give priority to personal goals over organizational goals. It is crucial for the survival of an individual and organization. It's a product of an individual's physical and mental energy. It's the external force which induces an individual to contribute his efforts or makes organization and society inseparable. And the correct answer is A, which is it encourages an individual to give priority to personal goals over organizational goals. It basically means every individual should have personal goals which impacts the organizational goal in a positive way. If he is able to meet his personal goal, the organization will meet the organization's goal. And the basis of this goal making is the motivation and the teamwork. All right. Next, due to enormous profits involved in smuggling, hundreds of persons have been attracted towards this anti-national activity. Some of them became millionaires overnight. India has a vast coastline both on eastern and western coast. It has been a heaven for smugglers who have been carrying on their activities with great impunity. There is no doubt that from time to time certain seizures were made by the enforcement authorities during raids and ambush, but even allowing these losses, the smugglers made huge profits. I am repeating what I have covered in the past. The passage best supports the statement that smuggling hampers the economic development of a nation. Smuggling ought to be curbed. Authorities are taking strict measures to curb smuggling. Smuggling is fast increasing in our country owing to the quick profit it entails. Entails means brings. And the correct answer is the last one. Even though the drugs get caught, they lose some money, but it does not impact the business. They are making a lot of money. Next, though the waste of time or the expenditure on fashion is very large, yet fashions have come to stay. They will not go come what may. However, what is now required is that strong effort should be made to displace the excessive craze for fashion from the minds of these youngsters. The passage best supports the statement that fashion is a need of the day. The excessive craze for fashion is detrimental to one's personality. The hoard for fashion should be done away with so as not to let down the constructive development. Work and other activities should be valued more than the outward appearance. And the correct answer is C. The hoard for fashion should be done away with so as not to let down the constructive development. We still don't have any callers. All right. One of the important humanitarian byproducts of technology is the greater dignity and value that it imparts to human labor. In a highly industrialized society, there is no essential difference between Brahmin and Dalit, Muslim and Hindu. They are equally useful and hence equally valuable for in the industrial society. Individual productivity fixes the size of the paycheck and this fixes his social status. The passage best supports the statement that technology decides individual social status. caste and religions are man-made. Human labor has dignity and value. All individuals, irrespective of caste and creed, are born equal. Industrial society is a great leveler of men. Leveler means it equates everybody. And the correct answer is human labor has dignity and value. Whatever you do means something, it has value. The future of women in India is quite bright, and let us hope that they will justify their abilities by rising to the occasion. Napoleon was right when he declared that by educating women, we can educate the whole nation. Because a country can never rise without the contribution of 50% of their population. The passage best supports the statement that India is striving hard for emancipation of women. All women should be well educated. A nation can progress only when women are given equal rights and opportunities as men. Women ought to be imparted full freedom to prove their worth and contribute to the progress of the nation. And obviously number 4 is the correct answer. There is one fundamental difference between a passage comprehension and a theme detection. In passage comprehension, it will ask 5 specific questions with options. In theme detection, you need to understand the inner meaning of the passage. The words may mean something different. That is what the question is trying to ask. In passage comprehension, it's all about reading and logically understanding what is the correct answer. In theme detection, like the word says theme, you need to understand the inner meaning of it. You need to read 4-5 times, understand what the passage is talking about. The words could be something, but the meaning could be something else. Theme detection is trying to gauge how smart you are, how intelligent you are, and how proficient you are in terms of understanding the hidden meaning or the inner meaning of a particular paragraph. You need to practice a lot. You need to read a lot, you need to communicate a lot. The question will not be something easy, it's Infosys, please remember. Obviously it's going to be tough, they want the best people. You need to practice, you need to pick the paragraph, read 4-5 times, if possible make some notes trying to understand what the author is trying to say. But in passage comprehension, it's only comprehension, but in theme detection, it's an analysis. It's a logical reasoning which you are doing on set of words. Alright, do we have any caller? No callers. Again, only 2 callers today. So I don't understand what exactly is going wrong, why we are not getting calls. We were getting a lot of calls, but seems like the interest level has gone down in last 10 days. You are getting an opportunity like this, please make the best use of it, please pick up the phone and call. I came prepared for passage comprehension, which I am done. Tomorrow I'll talk about sentence correction, where you will have one sentence, you will have options, you need to pick the correct, grammatically correct sentence, or the question may not even need any kind of change. Plus I will also touch upon fill up the blanks. Alright. Since we are not getting any callers, we'll call it off now. Tomorrow, like I said, we'll look at a little bit more on theme detection. I'll try to get some more questions on theme detection, as well as we'll look at sentence correction and little bit of fill up the blanks. I hope you pay attention, you grow the interest, and you call and ask more questions. All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow.